we talked about this in the beginning of the day. At the beginning of the day, we talked about this thing right here, the elephant in the room. And boy, is this an interesting looking elephant. So I picked this location right now, also because it's good lighting. So if you guys want to learn about what's going on with the elephant in the room, go ahead and watch Real Flight, my previous live stream on Real Flight. Today is the 14th, I believe, of which month, I have no idea. They might say that it is the 11th month. You can figure it out by yourself. I don't want to get lost in stuff. But anyway, look how cool this is. This is not something that I created. This is something that you can get yourself off of Thingiverse. So if you're not into CG Trader, which you should be into CG Trader, but if you're not, you can still get cool stuff like this on Thingiverse. Fortunately, I'm out of my account on that one. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Anyway, the problem with some people is they keep forgetting their passwords. And it'd be nice, just like what Amazon has done, if I could just have a little device at home so that I wouldn't have to keep forgetting all my passwords on all the different things. And you could just be in your password system all the time. You never log out. That would be a good thing. But if not, Amazon came up with a pretty smart idea, which is palm reading. The system reads your palm. You don't have to bring your, you don't have to bring cash. You don't have to bring your plastic. You don't have to bring anything. You can pay for your things. Once you set that up, it automatically works with a coupon, so you don't have to do that every time that you get to the register. Search for your coupon on the Amazon app and then pay with your plastic card. You don't have to do any of that. Now, if you go to places like Whole Foods, they have the good old palm reader. Scan your palm, you're done. Scan your palm, you're done. Anyway, in some ways, technology has moved forward, and in other ways, it hasn't. But anyway, if you guys want to check this out, this is definitely something that you can find. What did I do? I think, I can't remember what I put in the search engine. Something like 3 printable items or something. 3 printable items that you can print in one piece. 3 printable items and something. And it's really cool because you it prints out like this flat on the build plate, and when you're done, then these are all movable parts. It's got a really cute little tail. The ears don't bend, but this is cool enough already as it is. If you make this out of a rubbery material, so if you're all about that flexible filament, this will obviously have some bend to it, which is kind of cool. And the ears will also have some bend to them. But as is, if you buy it and if you decide to print it out in regular plastic or resin, this is what you're going to get, which is still really awesome. I mean, come on, guys. This is cool. Again, I did not build that. I just got the 3D printer to print it out. So I want to stress that as much as possible. As well as this one. I've talked about this so many different times. I've got this in pink, and I got this in blues, and I've got it in grays. And it comes with an egg as well. So if you wanted to, you could 3D print out a super large egg, and then you'd have a thing to keep it in, which is pretty fantastic there too. Anyway, with this lighting, you get to see all the, which is also quite fun. Again, another thing that I did not create. This is not my creation, but I have on this YouTube channel, you guys have seen, I think I've mentioned the guy's exact name and stuff, and his Thingiverse account. So something to look forward to. If you guys can find it on here, it will be there. This is another one of those cool things too that you can 3D print. If you guys like the bomber, this is a good plug for Motion RC. Motion RC recently released a really cool jet, RC jet, that looks just like this. Even better, obviously more details on there's something that you guys want to take a look at. And then of course there is the Millennium Falcon, and this I've 3D printed in resin. I've 3D printed in all kinds of different plastics, but it is a really intricate and absolutely cool model. I'm running the 3D virtual camera as well, the Ricoh Theta, I think it's Ricoh Theta X, which is fantastic, but it has one drawback, which is 5 minutes at a time. So we've hit about 5 minutes mark, which is why you heard the deet. Anyway, so there we go, guys. There we go. This is another fun 3D print that you guys can do. And then there are a couple that I brought. Where did I put it? I swear I brought it. It's all in this box. Oh, before we do the cards, there's one more. For those of you who are Lord of the Rings connoisseurs and enthusiasts, you're gonna love this, and you can see it rather well. 3D printed this in resin. I think this was on the Monoprice mini resin printer, and it did a fantastic job. I may do this again on the Creality. I think I've got a Creality printer. I never got to do one on the Frozen. The Frozen would have been a fantastic print on that too, but one of my friends has bought it, and maybe someday we'll see a video on that, which would be amazing. But anyway, there you have it. Again, these days I'm not 3D printing anymore, but I've given my other printer, the best one, the one that Steve built for me, is at Steve's house, 3D printing the world. So hopefully we'll see something fun coming out of that at some point. This was one of the old ones that I did, which is really cool. And this brings me to Top Gear. Top Gear did an amazing, I think it was one of their ending finales or something. They did a really fun show where they had, they were dressed up as Where's Waldo, which is something that I love because I used to be an examiner for Where's Waldo on a platform that no longer exists, which was examiner.com. But anyway, I was a examiner on that, and they were dressed up as Where's Waldo, and they wore a bunch of leg weights. They even had like a chest, a whole like vest with weights on it and arm weights, and they did a fantastic thing there. It was really fun watching them run and then drive these cool sports cars. And my favorite of them all, of course, was the Toyari. Toyari, if you don't know what that is, it's a Toyota. So it has a Toyota chassis underneath, and then it's got a Ferrari shell on top. So you think you're driving a Ferrari, but really it's a Toyota. So it's going to be reliable, and the resale value is going to be better at the end of the day. So, and this is the other one that was built again in collaboration with another amazing artists for the Marvin Nation stuff. So main difference between these two is this one is a puzzle system and this one is not, which is why even on my other printer I was forced to print it in 2 parts. But if you have a Gmax or a larger printer, you could print this all in one go. It is really cool. This is a Honda. This here is a Honda, obviously a modified Honda. The design is mine, but it's based off of a Honda. I believe the front is kind of like a CRZ and the rear is something else. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I did all the sketches and stuff. Then I gave my sketches over to a fantastic 3D modeler, and they came up with this brilliant design here. Similarly, same thing happened over here, where we had the Toyota Supra kind of style body, but then I had it modified to look the way that I wanted it to, which is a little bit different. And it has elements of other vehicles too. But the cool thing about this one, as I said before in a different live stream, is that you can 3D print it in parts. So then if you can work out the math and stuff, you can set it up so that it goes on your very large vehicles, not just necessarily the smaller ones, like the ones you can get like the Mini Zs from Kyosho and stuff. I made these so they would be like Mini Z Kyosho style size, or, you know, some of the other ones. Low C, make some fun things. Oh, there we go. That was another 5 minutes, so I have to do it again. Press the button. There we go. So yeah, lots of other companies. Horizon Hobby also has their mini crawlers and stuff. This is something that might work on the mini crawlers as well. So that's what I made these for. And you can find all of these on CG Trader. And again, as I said before, if you want to participate in this channel, you can. You have a 3D printer and you want to try these out, I will give you the 3D model for free. You don't have to buy it or anything. What I do is I go on CG Trader, and if we communicate through email and stuff, I will just put that thing on for free to download. You just download the file off of CG Trader, and then you put it in your 3D printer and you print it out. And then all I ask in return is that you make a couple of second video of your final print. That's all I'm asking. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've tried to ask a bunch of people to work with me on these things, but you know, it's just like talking into the abyss. You talk into this black hole and nothing comes out of it. Anyway, so if you guys are interested, again, you can get these for free. If you're not interested and you want to support the channel, you can go on that thingamajig that I just talked about, CG Trader. You will find it, and you can just basically buy these things for like $1 or something if you want. There's a button on there, so if you don't like the price, if you see like 30 or you see like 20 or 10, whatever, you don't like that price, there's a button inside of CG Trader that gives you the option to do, and I think the lowest they will allow is $1. I'm okay to give you guys these things for free, but it's on there, and it's not fair for the other people that are on there. So if I put weird prices like $1 or $2 or less than that, then that's called like undercutting the industry. So people get all upset about that. So I don't do that. I don't do that. But if you can go as low, I think, as $1 to get these cool things. And again, if you have a 3D printer and some time at your disposal, you can 3D print this if you have a large build plate all in one go, or if you want to 3D print it for like a 10 scale or an 8 scale, or you know, those really big RC cars, you can just 3D print the parts in one in piece by piece, and then add some glue or something. But they should be able to snap in on their own. So there you go. There you go, guys. There you go, guys. So those are all the cool things that I created thanks to the help of others. Just like Elon Musk did not become Elon Musk all by himself. He was surrounded himself with amazing people who helped him get to where he's going, and he learned the ways to do the ways of the world. Unfortunately, my company died because of my idealism. I was an idealistic person, and so when people created things for me, we had this deal where I said, well, if you build this, then you are also allowed to sell it. So that's how it worked. So anybody who worked for me, whether they made an animation, whether they created a 3D model, whether they helped me build a video game, whatever it was, they had part ownership of everything. So that's why they were willing to work for free for stuff, because then they could use my company to tell other employees that they were currently employed, because nobody wants to look for work when they're not currently employed, because that just puts you in a really bad spot. So I was offering a service to people back in the day when I still owned that company, and now I'm not sure if, you know, if the titles or whatever are still being paid for. So who knows, right? What's going down in Funky Town. But anyway, that was the company that I created with idealistic ideas. So if I was now running Twitter, then you would be worried, because I would definitely bankrupt the company immediately. But if Elon Musk is in charge, then you know it's going to be okay. It's going to be a-okay. So don't worry about that. We talked about the elephant in the room in the other one. But anyway, if you guys care about what's going on here on the Marvimation, not the Marvimation old company, and what's going on Marco Reviews channel and stuff like that. If you guys want, you can get these. Again, as I said before, all you got to do is drop a comment in the YouTube channel and or email me at the marvimation@gmail.com, and I will provide you with these for free should you want to do that. And all I ask in return is a 5-second video that you'll put on your own YouTube channel or whatever. So then I can show people that somebody has partaken in some of the activities that we've done. In the past, a lot of people have gotten the models off of me for free, but then they never bothered to share their videos. So just so you know, if you're gonna be a nice guy, and you expect things from others, don't. Because people don't. They say one thing and then they do something else. Something you get used to if you live long enough on planet Earth. Is this thing... No, look, this thing overheated. So the next part of the video obviously didn't go. I'm going to put it away to avoid it dying completely. And as I said before, it's a beautiful day. It's a perfect day. And so while we're out here, I thought, you know what? I will read you a little bit out of this book, which I like, and this book, which you probably should have bought by now. Did you go out and buy it? I hope you have. If not, don't worry. Nothing bad's going to happen. I won't show up at your door trying to sell you solar like I used to. I'm not doing that anymore. People did not like me when I was a salesperson. They're like, no, that Marco Reviews guy's there again. Oh, he's going to ask me if I'm going to put solar panels on my house. And my wife is going to kill me. Because she said that if I do, it's going to change the appeal, the curb appeal on my... That's what I used to get the most when I was selling solar. No, it ruins the curb appeal on the houses here. We don't want that stuff on our roofs. Anyway. We got to page we were at page 8 actually, but we got to page 9, which for some reason triggers. Did you guys vote yes on 69? I hope you have. Someday you will. You'll be smart enough to vote on 69, and life on Earth will be better. It will. Let's go. Here is some more information that I have. Whoa, there's some shouting in the back there. Here is some more information that I have discovered about servos and robots. Be sure that the servo you buy is not a cheap imitation. This book was written a while back, so back then the cheap Chinese imitations weren't that good. These days, get whatever you want, it's fine. Most of the cheap stuff works really well too. But back in the day, you had that problem, which is pretty much non-existent these days. This can be detected by the seller hiding the manufacturer name or misspelling the manufacturer name. Yeah, that's one of the crafty things they do. A common example would be Tower Pro, real or towered pro as in fake. And then it shows you here. I'm not sure if that is legible. Will Tim, my favorite chef, allow you to see? I think probably okay. Things have gotten better on the algorithm there. This is my new rule of thumb for making humanoid as in two-legged robots. The problem is that the more the servos and their connecting hardware, the more the robot weighs. And we've noticed that in some of the things that you guys have seen me do on the channel. Sometimes you put too much glue on something. You put too much weight on it because the battery is too heavy. You change out the motor and it's too heavy, whatever it is. And you mess with those variables, with those parameters too much, and then the thing won't fly. Oh, okay. There's some live music out there. The leg servos of a 5 to 9 DOF. So those are degrees of movement. DOF, you know, like you might have more joints. So some robots don't have proper, like, they won't walk correctly because they don't have proper hip rotation going on, or they might not have proper torso rotation in them. So that's why some of those robots that you'll find out there, such as one of the old, what was it called? Alpha had this problem. It couldn't do a proper karate punch because you'd have to punch sideways or something. It was quite hilarious. Anyway, so then basically it says humanoid robot should handle 100 inches of torque. The leg servos of a 10-15 DOF humanoid robot should handle 150 inches of torque. The leg servos of a 16 to 20 DOF humanoid robot should handle 200 inches of torque. So based on how many servos you have and all that stuff, you got to set up the parameters so that the thing doesn't fail on you. And then also the structure of the robot that you're going to be using. For instance, if you use a big metallic structure like this, it is great for some things, and in other cases it's not so good because it adds a ton of weight to the whole system. And sometimes your gears will strip out because it's too heavy or whatever, so you have to be careful how you put things together. You do have to understand those parameters well enough. So something to think about, So let's go into the rest of the thing that we're talking about here. It says, I use a program that will set up to 12 servos attached D2 to D13 to their 90-degree position or center of rotation. So that seems to be what he likes to work with. I might have to move from here because there's a lot of shouting in the back. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're talking about plants or something. I don't know. Might have to look for a shaded spot somewhere. Okay. We did the thing with the 3D print models and stuff with the sun and all that stuff. So maybe we'll just hang out in a slightly less loud area. Let's see. They're having a lot to talk about over there about plants. And I don't want to disturb them either. Maybe I'm loud with my voice. So let's see what goes on. We'll let the HOA people go through, and we'll move to another spot that hopefully is more shaded and stuff. Let's see. Running. Maybe here is good. It's also in the shade. It's gotten a little bit warmer. Whoa! Lessons on the road with Thingy-Mapoodle, Robert J. Davis II. In case you guys didn't know, this is Robert J. Davis II. He wrote this book. He wrote it. So it says, there are an odd number of teeth on the servo output gear so that there are 4 different possible gear alignments. That is to say, there are 4 chances that the servo will line up with whatever you're connecting it to. If it does not work properly, turn the flange 90 degrees and try again. Remember the flange? Oh, friends. Phoebe and flange. Anyway. Remember that the shoulders for the humanoid robots should be in the middle of their movement, so the arms should be straight out or half their way up. So just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to show it real quick over here, and hopefully you'll be able to read that. There you go. There's something that is written in here, which is probably some Pythonish looking code. So it says for your Arduino anyway, Arduino 12 servo to a home of 90 degrees, home between quotations, used to set the 0 position for all 12 servos. Mapped as D2 is servo number 1, mapped as D3 is servo number 2, etc., etc. It says hashtag include those funny looking things that you use in math to say greater than or lesser than. I don't know. I don't remember what they're called. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Servo.h, servo with a capital S, and H with a small. And then servo1, colon, // define our servos. And then it goes through all the other servos from 1 all the way to 5. And the next page, it'll do the same thing all the way to 12. And then it says you have to write in the code void setup, and then parentheses, and then close parentheses, and then squiggly parentheses, and then servo1 dot attach parentheses 2, and then close parentheses, and colon // servo on the digital pin 2. And it'll keep going on and on and on, so you guys can maybe stop the video and look at this in your own time. But that is what it's all about there for the set of the servos. There are many possible solutions to the 12 servo limit. They involve the use of either software or hardware. We will concentrate on the software modifications. Software solutions, modify servo.h. Modify servo.h, as we said before, switch to servo. It goes to switch to software servo. And then write your own servo driver. Hardware solutions, it says not covered here, so I guess you're on your own. But it says switch to an Arduino Mega. So I guess your regular run-of-the-mill is not going to do it. You're going to have to use Arduino Mega for this. And it says use an external 4017 and then 10-channel expansion. It says use an external 16-channel servo controller. So you're going to have to get a servo controller to work with your Arduino. Some are 16-channel and some are 32-channel. Whatever works for your personal projects. I don't know. You'd have to figure that out yourself. One solution is to modify servo.h to support more than 12 servos per timer. Basically, you find an Arduino 1.0.5 / libraries / servo. In the folder, there is a file called servo.h. Open it with your WordPad. And I guess that's usually what you do to then be able to modify it once you open it with WordPad. That allows you to do that. So do not allow WordPad to convert it to a formatted document. It must remain a quotation text document in order for this to work. There is a line in the servo.h that says, beyond inside the quotes, servos _per _timer quotation and then full stop. Anyway, I think full stop has nothing to do with the actual coding, so that just may mean the end of the sentence in the book here. So change the number from 12 to 18 for a total number of 18 servos. Save your changes. Then it says up next is a picture highlighting the needed modification to servo.h to support more than 12 servos. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to let you guys take a look at it yourselves over here in the book. There you go. And hopefully that will be useful to you guys in any way. I need to double check on the time, so I'm turning on the car to see what time it is. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So then it talked about, so it says, so you do not want to modify servo.h to support more than 12 servos. The next option is software servo. But guess what? It does not work, he says, without modification either. So you have a second option, but if you want to do something that doesn't have modifications to do to it, you're probably out of luck, because this one also needs one too. You need to change the line that says, within the quotation mark and then those squiggly things saying greater than, pointing in towards the middle, then it'll say W, capital W, program.h, and then basically the lesser than or more than, pointing back at the H in this case. To say, then it goes quotation, again, that funny thing, this time it's pointing towards Arduino.h, and then this one is pointing towards H. Using WordPad. He said, do this all using WordPad. take a quick look should you want to. There you go. Enjoy the beans while they're there. Rice and beans, rice and beans. So anyway, chapter 2, the servo building blocks. Here we go, servo building blocks, and it's going to show you a bunch of parts here, these in a bunch of videos on the channel. I once built one of these, as you can see there, and these are basically made out of these singular parts that then you will screw together, and then you will add servo to those things. And I built one of those, hoping that someday I would be smart enough to program it to do something. Boy, was I wrong. Maybe at some point my daughter or Steve will build one of those things. But most of the parts that you see here, I donated to my friend Steve for one of his spiders. I hope that his spider will someday be walking the streets of Irvine, taking funny pictures and stuff of trash, because that's what we want to really do. We want to do like a cigarette butt detector, and we wanted to do a trash detector, but you know, this is Irvine, so you won't find much trash anyway. But it was just for the fun of it, to see what we could accomplish with technology. So the products in this book use what you might call servo building blocks. Metal parts make it easy to build just about anything using standard side servos. So again, as I said before, when I started using these, I created a humanoid character with very nice construction. I had everything from shoulders, elbows, upper torso separated from hips, so it could do the perfect walk if you wanted to do it, so long as you knew how to code it and get it to do what you wanted to do. It could have done a proper human-like walk. Most of the things that you buy these days are like 9 servos, 12 servos. With that, you'll never really get a perfect human walk out of that. So I think mine had a whole bunch more servos than that. I would have to go back and see the video. Again, I gave away the parts, so I don't have that as reference to help you guys with that. So these projects will take a lot of servos, he said. I used a 17 DOF kit to get most of the parts, but you can use the parts list to buy the individual parts. The brackets come in black, white, silver, and I have even some in blue. Or you could 3D print your own if you want to save a whole bunch of money on metal parts. What you can do is buy some pretty cheap filament, and so long as you don't choose very heavy, large servos, you could create a robot of, you know, whatever size you're looking for, which would be lighter and would move better as well. The only problem is with 3D printed parts, you have to be careful to figure out exactly how much of the filament you want to use, and which kind of filament, and the density of the filament, and all that stuff, to get it so that if the robot falls over, it doesn't explode and break into smithereens. So here are some of the many parts that will come with the walking humanoid robot kit that is found on eBay. At the top is the U-shaped brackets, 6 short ones and 4 long ones. Below that is the 12 servo motor mounting brackets. So there we go, guys. Here in this picture, you're going to find a bunch more things. Take a gander, if you will. More of those parts that I used to build my first robot, and endless amounts of screws and nuts and bolts that you're going to need to connect everything together. Pretty cool stuff, So it says, this next picture shows some of the other brackets. At the top, there are 4 straight and 4 angled connecting brackets. Below, there are the 2-foot bottoms and 4 angled U-shaped brackets. You will also need some servo flanges, some ball bearings, and lots of screws like the ones that are shown in the picture below. I forgot to talk about the ball bearings, but anyway. In order for different servos to be able to actually be able to move around, there's ball bearings connecting these parts together, so it's like little hinges. And then, as you can see here, that's what it does. The screw will go through here and through here, so the thumb and the index. Imagine there is then one of those ball bearings, and as you can see here, just like a door would, you get this kind of movement, which is what you need there to make all those cool robots, whether it's a spider or a human figure or whatever else you might want. You're still going to need that rotation. So then it says, oh, one of the coolest things that they've done these days with that is those cars, the bouncing cars. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. Really cool. Red Cat Racing makes a bunch of those. They're so cool. So they don't just drive, they bounce. So they've got servos in there, and then that allows them to go up and down and bounce up and down, which is it's so cool. So they'll have wheels there, and then you can press a bunch of buttons on the remote, and it'll just go like that. It's epic. It's epic. Anyway, so 16X multifunctional servo mounting bracket is something that you're going to find in there. You're going to find, by 16X, I mean there's going to be 16 of these. Then 7X is in, there's going to be 7 short U-type servo brackets. You're going to find 4X long U-typed servo brackets. And then you're going to find angle U-type servo brackets, flat servo brackets, L-type servo brackets, robot waist bracket, or make your own instead. I guess that's kind of a hybrid. You've got the foot base, you've got miniature ball radial bearing, you've got metal servo horn flange, you've got screw and nut set containing the following parts. So screw and nuts, there's going to be one of these. It's going to have about 64 larger screws and nuts, 4 per servo. Then it's going to have 8 larger flathead screws and nuts, 4 per foot, 128 smaller screws and nuts, 8 per servo. These parts are needed but are not included in the robot kits. So whatever is going to come up below here is, I'm guessing, what it's referring to. So you guys can take a quick look at that. Take a gander. There we go. And just in case you guys wanted to know more information on this, you could contact Bob Davis on Blogspot here. I think there's some kind of information back there regarding email and stuff if you guys are interested in learning more about this book. And there's a website, I think, maybe. Is that a website? bobdavis321.blogspot.com. You can check that out if you're interested. So it says 17X is in, there's going to be, I think, 17 of these. MG995, MG996, or MG958 servos. These must be purchased separately for these projects for 17 DOF humanoid project. You might want to use some more powerful servos for hips, is what they're saying, because sometimes that's going to be one of the stress points in the humanoids. If you have a spider robot, you won't have as much stress all on the hips, so you might not have to worry about that as much. But if you're going to have a humanoid character, the hips are going to take a lot of the weight, a lot of the stress, just like in a human body, so they better be strong. It's part of the reason why as you age and you fall over and you break a hip, then it becomes more difficult, with the aging process in the real life too. So these additional parts are needed for some of the projects in this book. So again, it's going to tell you that 1X is in 1 multifunctional server mounting bracket. You're going to get 3 short U-type servo brackets, dog and dino, apparently that's what they call them. Long U-type servo bracket is also a dino tail. And then there's going to be 2 of those, and then 2 of the L-type servo bracket, dog and dino. And then 1 robot waist bracket, or make your own. It's your guess. Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to make your own, whether it's just maybe a hybrid bit or something. I don't know. Again, I've built a bunch of stuff without really understanding a lot of this stuff, which is why I purchased this book. But I just enjoy building stuff, so sometimes I just pick up stuff without instructions and build it, just to see if I can get it to run. But yeah, that's why I partnered with with Steve so that he could help me out with the coding and all that stuff and all that jazz to make sure that it actually goes somewhere. And you guys, if you have seen that What's in the Box by Steve and Marco, What's in the Box, there's a bunch of different videos on that, but I also provide a link on most of these live streams so you guys can go check that out. He will go through a bunch of things in more detail because that is his profession. He does that for his real livelihood, his real job is what he does there. So he be the expert on all that coding stuff. So it says, I obtained most of the parts for these robots on eBay. Same here. I use eBay a lot. Sometimes Walmart and occasionally Target, but mostly it's going to be Walmart and sometimes Amazon too. It just really depends. Most of the time I don't get to use Amazon because it requires special approval and a credit card, which I rarely get. So that's why it's better to have things such as PayPal. And PayPal works very well with, you guessed it, eBay and Walmart, but also Target. So there we go. So he got this stuff mostly on eBay, just like me. Not making this up. You can read it yourself. It's there. Just in case you thought I was lying. Anyway, I said, here is the eBay ad for the robot kit that I started. Oh, sorry. For the robot kit that started everything. And yes, that's right. I purchased the same or a very similar kit to what he has in here. And it does come with its own challenges, so it is not a perfect kit, and I've done a video on that too, so you guys can find that on the channel if you're interested. The robot kit did not come with any servos. That's right, mine didn't either. To make the robot work, I had to order 16 servos separately, which is another thing that's kind of annoying. Although you can find kits that have everything together, it's like a ready to plug and play kind of thing. So you have all the parts, but you still need to assemble. And there are some occasions in which you can buy the whole thing already assembled. But those kits you will find are very, very expensive. So that's why I didn't go that route. Whew. With 2 servos that I already had, that brought my total to 18. The 2 most common servos for making these robots are the MG995 and MG996. The MG996 is an improved version of the MG995. I can't remember if they're all metallic, like the gears and all that stuff is metallic, but I think they might be, which is why they're a little bit stronger. They're a little bit stronger than what you would have if you were to, use the other kind, which then leads to stripping and stuff, and then the whole robot falls apart. So sometimes if you spend a little bit more for something a little bit better, you get a better result in the end. So make sure you get the real Tower Pro servos and not some cheap imitations. The imitation servos sometimes will say Tower Pro, or their manufacturer name may be misspelled altogether. So for comparison purpose, I also bought some MG996 and MG946R servos. Apparently he just wanted to make it complicated for some reason. Just stick to the basics, man. They turned out to be some cheap imitations. One burned up on the first test run, so he's telling you not to do that. Don't do that. Just buy the ones that he was suggesting. Then I bought some MG958s. In my opinion, they are the best servo for the price that you can get. So he's saying MG958. The Tower Pro MG958 is a more powerful and more expensive servo. However, having at least 2 of those will really help with some of the heavier robots. The Spider could not stand up without them, he said. I'll take his word for it. I don't, I've never fully built one that had a brain and could move around, so I can't tell you. I'm gonna just go with what he's saying over here. And here are some more things, I guess, that he got off of his eBay. and that may still be available today, which is a lot many years after, so many years after. So it means that this stuff is probably quite good if it's still on eBay, and it's been on eBay for this many years. It's been tested and retested. So in order to make the dinosaur with the long tail, I ordered for some project U-shaped brackets is what he seems to have used. This is the ad for the longer U-shaped bracket. The price is for 2 of them. So he says that it's about $2.80 is what he's putting here. I'm not sure if any of these prices are still viable today because everything is more expensive. So you'll have to check this out on your own. But it used to be $51.60 for the servos, those MG958s that he brags about, that he says are fantastic. Those are about $51.60, and then these other brackets that he's talking about are about $2.80, and some of the other ones below that we're talking about is the U-shaped bracket that are shorter. Those are going to be $4.11. For some reason, that's more expensive. It's less metal, but for some reason, it's more expensive. Can't tell you why that is. I just don't know how things run anymore. It's hard to tell. So he says, here is the waist bracket. You will need 2 of them for the 4-legged robot and 4 6-legged robot. This is the case if you do not decide to make your own waist chest bracket. As the Amazon truck just drives past me here on the left. So if you want one of these thingies here for the waist, it is about $2.73. But again, all of these prices that I'm giving you may not be reliable because a lot of time has passed since that time. So he said, I also ordered some more servos brackets because some projects might require 18 servos and brackets. The price is for 2 of them, and he says $2.90. That's about $3. We're just going to round it up. Then he says, these are bearings that are needed for use with their normal single-ended servos. And he said that these are about $5. $5. Good. You might also need more servo horns. So if you need more servo horns, buy more servo horns. In this case, they have to be compatible with the MG958 if that's what you're getting, or they will be compatible with whatever other ones that you have decided to purchase. So make sure you don't buy ones that are mismatched, which I've done so many times. And in today's world, it's a big deal because back in the old days, you could just send them back at no cost. But today, you might have to pay for shipping if you're sending them back, and that comes out of your own pocket. Maybe you bought something for $5, and it was free shipping one way to you. You have to send it back. Now it probably costs you $2. So now you spent $7 and you only got $3 back. Does that sound like a square deal? No, but what are you going to do? This is modern America for you. So here is a sensor servo shield to buy if you do not want to make your own servo shield. So he decided that this is the servo shield that you've got to get, but I guess you probably could get something that's compatible or similar. And then he also talks about USB adapters that you're going to need for the communication between certain things. And he said that this is going to cost you about $16. It is an easy to add remote control USB adapter. It helps you to remote control your robots from further away, right? Because you want to be able to remote control your robot, whether it's from your PC. Of course, my favorite is going to be like one of those remote controls, or sometimes you'll see these cool Amazon robots, and those have like game pads, and you can drive those with the game pads. Anyway, if you check out Robot Wars and a bunch of those things, you will find that each individual person likes to use their own system. So people like the remote controls like DJI remotes, which are my favorites, or you could use the gamepad, also pretty good. So it really depends on what you're going to buy for your thing. So it said that, then it says, another thing that you might need for the larger robots are some servo extension cables like these. So servo extension cables. So there are there are optional metal hands. These give 70 DOF humanoid robots the ability to pick up things. Yes, in my original design, I had robot hands. And yes, had I been smart enough to know how to get this all up and running, I would have had a humanoid cool robot that could have picked things up with its claws. It's more like a crab, like the cancer sign crab. So could have picked up stuff like that. Anyway, if you prefer plastic hands, these are the example of them. These are an example of them, and it shows that there is a way that you can buy plastic hands, and you don't have to buy the ones that are metallic. But for some reason, the plastic hands are more expensive than the metal hands. So you might as well buy the metal hands. They can double for a mouth when making the dog or the dinosaur. So the good thing about these is, as he said before, you could use them for different things. For instance, you wanted to use them for the mouth or the tail of something, like if you've had like a scorpion, or what do you call those earwigs? Have like a scorpion. It looks like a scorpion tail, but it's got claws. So anyway, it does not sting like a scorpion, but it's got claws like a crab, but in the back. So anyway, so it says about it says about $13 if you round it up for the metal ones, but if you get the plastic ones, it's gonna be $22 if you round it up. Which, why more for the plastic? I don't know. Again, that's the nature of business. That's the nature of the way that things are being marketed. I don't think there's a proper system that detects or a system of benchmark that tells you how much egg should be at the market, how much should the price of the egg be, and then you'll have more and less. But if you have that in hand, then you know that you're not being ripped off. For instance, there's no such thing as a benchmark for how much something should cost. So if someday you go to the store and you buy an egg and it's $8, you just think that's what it's supposed to be. You have nothing to really compare it to except previous prices of previous years. That's about it. That's why it's complicated to live on planet Earth. But anyway, for some of the robot projects I made, some of my own, for instance, he used his own parts. So he says, how to make some of those parts will be covered under the robot that is used, that he's going to use it for. So some of the parts that he's going to use, he's going to buy them, he's going to use his own. The typical waist chest piece is made out of 7 brackets and is ugly in his opinion. Don't take my word for it. He thinks it's ugly. I didn't say anything. I chose to make my own chest out of aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you live. Instead, he said, coming up is a picture of what the standard waist and chest arrangement looks like. The combination of brackets can be replaced by one bracket if you make it yourself. The homemade chest bracket is completely interchangeable with the standard chest waist assembly that is pictured below. Anyway, he says that he does not like this design, and in one of the robots that I made, I actually changed the design myself. So I guess it could work if you use this design, but if you have better ideas, you could just have better ideas. Anyway, I'm about to read this last bit, and then we're going to call it for the day, and then we'll come back and do this again, hopefully some other time, and give you some more insight on what he's talking about, which is really fun. At least I think so. But again, I'm usually not of the mass opinion, right? I'm usually of unpopular opinion when I talk about stuff. But anyway, another possible robot chest arrangement uses 2 of the waist brackets and an L-shaped bracket for mounting the head. The head is a little lower in this design and may need some spacers to raise it up above the shoulders. Up next is a picture of the alternate waist and chest arrangement. All right, guys, so we're going to call it a day here. We are on page 22. And thank you so much for stopping by and supporting and all that stuff. I wouldn't do it if I didn't have this amazing audience that I have. So thank you, guys, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Have an awesome day.